I think in a lot of ways it's better for the movie that I ended up having to do it outside of the Star Wars universe, because I think that there's a lot of rules that I would have had to have broken of, like, Star Wars canon, for instance.
I don't want no trouble.
I do love this part.
Because there was never a script, it was always just a pitch, and I was just a big Star Wars fanatic. It wasn't necessarily like a certain thing I wanted to see in this sort of Star Wars universe, but it was more that I just loved the iconography. But I just knew that in the end would have been like a little cage that I was living in, so it allowed me to do a lot more kind of freaky stuff, I think, in this movie than I think would have been possible if I was in that box. Though, I'm still a big Star Wars fan. That's just how it is.
It's a new age for the universe.
Detail to notice is that when Tarek is looking at the Bennu, he, on his little teeny amulet, which is a really teeny detail, there's a little one on his necklace. He's not on his homeworld now, but these creatures come from his homeworld. He has a really deep connection and understanding to those creatures, which you'll see a little bit, another taste of it in the next movie. But it was that kind of stuff, those details, that understanding of who Tarek was and where he came from, that allows the sort of detail of the scene. It allowed him to really be natural with the language, If you have an aptitude toward a certain way of phrasing or sound shapes, those make the language easier to speak, of course. I was always a big fan of Kurosawa growing up, very inspired by the way he used watercolors and drawing to kind of inform what he was going to do with the shot making and with sort of visualization. And I have a similar sort of approach to the way I shoot. And, frankly, those movies, Throne of Blood, whatever, were a big influence on me just in pretty much all the movies I made.
Who among you is willing to die for what you believe? Do you know the story of the Princess Issa?
We had to back everything up. The mythos that we were starting to create around the details of the world. It was the details of the world that really started the process of building a real cohesive and mythologically consistent reality. It was difficult. It was complicated and difficult. And what we wanted to really be careful of is not to paint ourselves into a corner with the canon. Because canon of this universe becomes the sort of Rosetta Stone that everyone has to go to if we're doing, say, a podcast or a comic book or an animated short or whatever we're doing. They need a Rosetta Stone or a touch point where they can go okay, that's law, so that we can't break that. And that's why we've really been trying to expand out all those ideas so that as we go forward, we don't go contradict ourselves.
Can you write them?